Hello there my fellow holotable heroes and welcome to another Galactic challenge video. Hopefully your week has been gaining some momentum because oh boy, we're gonna need it in today's challenge. First of all, apologies for a slightly different format of the video than usual, but that's because obviously you've heard of the bug when it comes to logging in. I wasn't able in the device that I usually use for recording gameplay to log in with both of my accounts, some issues there. So I had to use a different one, but anyway, doesn't matter, just wanted to mention it in case you're wondering why slightly different format here. So as always, we'll cover the modifiers and the feats and then show you the battles. There'll be YouTube chapters below if you wanted to skip ahead. Otherwise, let's have a look at the enemy. So luckily, I guess it's Bo-Katan lead, not Maul lead. That makes it slightly easier to deal with. But still a little bit of an annoying challenge. Obviously they are counter-attacking because of their modifier, and then because of Bo's unique, not her leadership actually, what's happening is whenever they attack out of turn, they gain some health and protection, so they're constantly healing up, which is a good thing, so we can stall long enough to get momentum done, right? Now in terms of the feats, we have to win a full Tusken team, so same like with Gun challenges, Java challenges, it's like there's just 5 of them, right? So either you have them or not, it depends obviously, you know, what tier you can complete. And then we have to gain momentum 150 times. Now, I think luckily last time we had a Tusken challenge, I was saying, oh, thank you for not giving us momentum feat. This time they did hit us with momentum as well. So I'll give you, a couple of different options there as well if you don't have Tuskens. And then obviously you have the marquee feat as normally we do. Let's look at the modifiers for Takodana. Like battling Mandalorians and trying to gain 150 momentum is not bad enough. We also have to deal with save heaven modifier. So what happened is whoever deals damage first gets permanent death mark applied on them, and whenever that unit gets defeated, whoever deals damage next gets death mark applied on them. So there's going to be, I guess, a little bit of a different sequence, especially with Tuskens, depending on your speeds. Anyway, I'll show you my speeds. Could be a little bit annoying if your Tuskens are too fast and they get death mark at the start instead of your guys. In terms of gaining momentum feat with a non-Tusken unit, actually, we will take this into our advantage. Because we'll kind of do similar like we do in Conquest with voluntary Vanguard disc. This essentially will act as we having voluntary Vanguard disc, giving permanent death mark on the tanks of our choice when we deal damage first with them. So we'll actually be using this modifier to our advantage at the end. Now in terms of the modifier for Tuskens, it's a pretty good one, pretty lengthy one, but the main mechanic out of this one is that the weakest enemy gets ambushed on them, and then Tusken allies can ignore taunt to target this enemy. But it seems like you can't ignore death mark, because at some point when Maul got death mark, I'm like, okay, let's just keep Maul death marked so I don't take him down, and then one of my Tuskens gets death mark. But I wasn't able to ignore a taunt, so it's the same for you guys, that you can't ignore death mark, but you can ignore taunts to target the ambushed enemy. And as well, whenever we hit ambushed enemy with a Tusken ally, they'll be getting extra momentum. So even if you don't have like a full Tusken team, right, you just have one good Tusken, maybe for my Lord Vader farm or something, or a Jabba farm, then at least you can use the ambush mechanic to get with your Tusken as well, the momentum feed. And then the code, the modifier for Mandalorians. Normally this is kind of annoying, but again, we'll be using these to our advantage so we can stall the battle long enough that they will have increased counter chance, and in combination with Bo's unique, they're recovering health and protection. So actually this will help us out today, both global and enemy modifier really helping us out to achieve the momentum feat. Alright, so let's get the obvious out of the way. If you do have a good Tusken squad, you can just get all the feats done in a single battle, depending obviously on the speed of your Tuskens, how things will line up for death mark. I didn't remod mine, but just so happened to be seems like a perfect speed order that I got 2 enemies down before one of my Tuskens finally got death marked. So you may need to remove some mods if your Tuskens are too fast to make sure that the enemy gets death mark first, not your guys. So slower is actually today better. Alright, let's hop in the battle. Now my chieftain does go first, but his abilities don't do any damage, so he won't get death marked. And then the turn order was that the bow goes next. She just gets stunned up in the air. Now we can just go ahead. We're just gonna go ahead and gun her down, because without her, right, they will not be able to heal as much anymore. So he's gonna go ahead, keep hitting her. There we go, bomb, bomb. There we go, bow down. And so just it happened that now Maul got a turn just before my next Tusken got a turn, so he got death marked. Again, let's say it's a bit of a sequence, right, how things line up. And this is the place where I actually wanted to ignore the taunt. I wanted to say, you know what, let Maul be death mark and let's see if we can finish off the other guys, but I was not able to ignore death mark, which resulted in one of my guys getting death mark in the end. So yeah, looks like Raider's gonna be the one. Let's see if we can just keep now targeting whoever's got ambushed on them, so we ramp up our momentum stacks. Alright, just go ahead, buff this spell coming in. Get a stun, perfect. Sure, let's get some protection up, see if we can keep our Raider alive. Come on, almost there. Oh, so close. Finish him. There we go. Boom. Alright, let's go ahead, get some turn meter for the team, and I'm just gonna go ahead, hit full auto. I'm pretty sure that these guys can handle this. There we go. We lost Raider, but it doesn't matter. At this point, even if one of our guys is death marked, Django kind of constantly stunning himself on his counterattacks anyway. So if you do have a solid Tusken squad, shouldn't be too difficult, I think, today to get this done, as long as obviously they're not too fast and you don't get death mark at the start. So have them slower like mine, and I think you should be okay. So this is now for my account, where my Tuskens are not that great. The best I could do was tier 6, because on tier 6, as you can see, gear 12, but most importantly, no Zetas. On tier 7, they're only gear 13, and they have all the Zetas, right? So Zetas are really what make this team more deadly in terms of, you know, what they can do. So I'm, you know, kind of a middle of the road. Tuskens hopefully shouldn't have too much problems for you on tier 6, so at least you can get this knocked out. Anyway, let's go ahead, start getting some momentum. So in this case we were the fastest, but you know, we were still able to kind of pull through this one. There we go, because you can see Maul without his Zetas can actually be stunned when even when he's got more than 2 stacks of anguish. Okay, that's it basically, just constantly stunning themselves. They can't do a whole lot, and Tusken just kind of carry this battle. I just hit full auto at this point, because I've seen that, yeah, I should be fine. I had to go tier 7, and yeah, didn't go anywhere with all the Zetas and everything. They quickly burned through my low gear-ish Tuskens. There we go, couple more hits, and Maul goes down as well. So these are the Tusken battles out of the way. So now let's do some momentum, cheese, conquest style battles. So we don't have Voluntary Vanguard disc, right? But we do have Malak and Safe Haven modifier, which essentially acts as a voluntary Vanguard. I'll show a couple of different teams here, different team comps, but depending obviously on what you've got, just hopefully something will work for you. So we'll start off first with Darth Traya lead. Now what Traya's lead will do for Malak, it will basically make him invincible, because it has all these things where enemies attacks out of turn, right, they deal damage to themselves, and also when they gain buffs out of their turn, they do less damage. But most importantly, as well with Traya, whenever we deal damage to debuffed enemy, we are recovering health for our Sith allies, and this is what will help our Malak to stay alive. Now I did have to remod Malak, so he's not as juicy as he should have been, as you can see, but we needed to mod him for speed, because he needs to go first, deal damage, then he gets permanently death marked. And obviously, as you probably know, Malak does not care about death mark, right? So he takes reduced damage from percent based, and then actually that acts as a voluntary guard. They have to keep hitting Malak, feeding themselves. I'm just showing you the mods on my order, so if you do have a, you know, one decent Tusken, you could try something like this. We need Watt obviously for the attack, and then we need Nihilus for his insta-kill, that we can actually take somebody down. Alright, let's open the battle and I'll show you how I run this team. But yeah, it's a pretty much like conquest style thing. Instead of voluntary vanguard, we're gonna have Death Mark on Malak, and they'll just be stuck behind Malak forever. They do have AoE, so you do have to watch out. Alright, I'm just gonna put Med Pack first on Malak. This will give him some health recovery anytime any unit takes a turn, just a basic on Maul. And this is a bit of an RNG, like who counterattacks, who's called for assist, like, you know, who gets fear and things like that. But you see, we got fear on 3 out of 2. And what you want to do with whoever your Tusken is, keep hitting whoever's ambushed, and that's what, every time you hit them, you get 2 stacks of ambush. I'm just gonna go ahead there, isolate Sabine to wreck her cooldown so she doesn't use her AoE. And see, we can ignore Taunt, but we were not able to ignore Death Mark previously. Let's go ahead and just dispel over there. Okay. Sure, let's put the final attack over on Nihilus. And now with our Tusken, in this case Ur, I just keep targeting ambushed enemies. There we go, one more turn to annihilate and we'll already be able to take somebody down. You can see Malak is really surviving like a champ here because of Traya in there. No issues whatsoever. So what you want to do then as well, whoever's not feared, hit them so they hit back and then fear themselves. So you're kind of using you know, their own modifier against them that gives them counter chance. So they're constantly feared, they can't do a whole lot. There we go, I think Nihilus is about to take a turn, so we can finally wreck somebody. Okay, I think I'll go... Let's go for, I think, yeah, let's go for Sabine first. She's got a nasty AoE. Let's get her out. And then again, keep hitting with Ur or whoever you got. One thing to notice, you do not want to get to 3 stacks of that buff on Malak. So don't use his life drain 3 times. You can use it twice, but not the 3rd time. Because then his basic will be applying healing immunity. And what that means, enemy can't heal up. And if they can't heal up, they'll eventually kill themselves from counterattacks, and then the battle will be over before you can get your 150 stacks of momentum. So very important, do not do that. You don't want to be landing healing immunity on the enemies. But that, you just kind of, yeah, we took down Maul next. As you can see, these guys, they can't do a whole lot. Malak and the Traya lead is just too much for them to handle, really. There we go. Let's go ahead, take Django down, and once you're just down to last 2 enemies, you can just hit auto basic. And then just let the clock run down, because, you know, without a feat tracker, no idea how many stacks of momentum I got so far, so I just ran the clock all the way down. Just kind of auto basic. Now if you do need to top up protection on your characters, you can always use the special there from What, which gives you protection over time. So whenever you feel like you need some extra protection back, you can take it off auto, do that and heal up a little bit, and then just hit auto basic again. That's why we don't want Mala getting 3 stacks of his buff, because then he'll be on his basic landing healing immunity, and we want these guys to be able to recover health and protection. And that's it, just keep moving target on Garsaxon whenever you can, whenever bow taunts, target will move. So what I'm gonna do here is get bow down, it's only 1 minute to go, and again just auto basic, run the clock all the way down, and then insta kill Garsaxon as well. So this team, lots of survivability with Malak and Traya. We got Nihilus for the damage, What for his shenanigans, and then obviously we need a Tusken, so we get ambushed mechanics going, which allows us to stack 2 stacks of momentum for every hit. And there we go, that's one way of completing 150 stacks of momentum on tier 10 if you do not have a full Tusken lineup. So let me show you an alternative team now. So similar mechanic, right? We have Malak, and Wat and Bori and Nihilus doing the same thing as they did in the first battle, and then instead of Tusken we're using Boba, Fett, Sign of Django. So if you could even use Boba with the first team, you can use Tusken with this team, it doesn't matter. I just want to show you that it works with either of them. Now this time we'll be going with Jedi Luke lead, and we'll be going in modless with modless Jedi Luke, just to make sure. He's got no speed on him whatsoever. We don't need him to deal damage, right? We just need him for his leadership, because as soon as he takes a turn, he will reduce the speed of the enemies. So we'll be able to then taking more turns than the enemies. Still have Malak in there. Now the downside of using, I guess, Boba Fett, Sign of Django, you will need Zeta on his unique, because the level 7, at least I believe it's a Zeta, correct me if I'm wrong, But whenever Boba Fett, Son of Jango, scores a critical hit, he gains a stack of momentum for 3 turns. Okay, let me check, is that really a Zeta? Hold on. Yep, I just checked it and this indeed is a Zeta. So that's, I guess, the downside. If you don't have Zeta on him, you will have to use Tuskens or slap a Zeta on him. So just something I did want to highlight. In case you're wondering why you're not getting stacks of momentum on your Boba Fett, Son of Jango. I didn't even remod him. I could probably make him tankier, just get some random mods on him. But even with Gear 8, he was, you know, he does have Bounty Hunt resolve, so he does get a revive, right? But I was just about able to pull it off here with Gear 8 Boba. Anyway, let's go ahead, same thing, Med Pack over Malak. We want to hit Maul, so we get Death Mark, more counterattacks, the other guys assist. They fear themselves, but you can see we don't have as much survivability without Traya's leadership. So we'll have to be a little bit careful with the AoEs here, a little bit more selective. Anyway, I'm gonna put the tank tech over on Boba, so he can actually then recover some protection as well. Alright, so far we are hanging in there. Let's go ahead, increase cooldowns on everybody. Alright, so you can see Malak taking a beating. Ooh, that was close one. Yeah, that's fine. A little bit careful with the AoEs, I guess. That's the lesson learned. After I saw the opening sequence, I'm like, not gonna use AoEs constantly anymore. Let's put the final tech on Luke. Now Luke gets his mass assist out, and now when we have everybody stunned, this is where we unleash our AoEs, right? We gotta keep hitting all the AoEs as much as we can. There we go. Alright, Maul will do his thing. But it's okay. Oh, he actually feared himself, so do you know what? Doesn't matter, let's just go ahead and hit the AoE. Maul's gonna eventually do his thing anyway, so let him just do it. Oh, he actually feared himself again. Oh, okay. Maul's not very clever, I guess. As you can see, we really are taking advantage of their counter chance against them constantly fearing themselves. Yeah, let's go ahead, hit Sabine, I guess. Good thing with Jedi Luke, his middle special can call anybody to assist, so always do make sure you call Boba to assist, right? So he's getting more stacks of momentum. Okay, let's go ahead, hit Maul. He will again fear himself, call some guys to assist, they will all get feared. There we go. So we were able to contain Maul due to fear. He wasn't able to unload his 5 stacks of Anguish. Now let's get him out of here. And here again, I'm just gonna use basics, right? Let's just hold off on the AoEs until we have at least 3 units stunned, right? Because again, we don't want to be using Malak's Drain too much, because then once we once we use it 3 times, then on his basic Malak will be landing healing immunity, and we don't want that. So just basic for now. So just hit whoever's not feared yet, so that they hit back, hit Malak, and hopefully crit and fear themselves. So that's the whole strategy. And then we're just gonna keep using basics until Jedi Luke gets another his mass assist out, and then we can start hitting those AoEs. And then just basically rinse and repeat, run the clock down, same as we did in the first battle. So again, just hold off on the AoE here, just basic. Luke will get in here any moment now. Hopefully he's got a stun ready for us. There we go, yep, keep hitting back. There we go, now we get a stun down, and now we can just hit them with AoEs again, which means more stacks of momentum. Nylos can reduce his cooldowns as well, so he should be able to take somebody down on his next hit. There we go again, whoever's not stunned or feared, hit them. At this point, they've got so much stacks of clan loyalty that they'll constantly counterattacking. Jango was the next one to go down, right? Because he can ignore taunt and easily he can take down your Boba and will prevent revives. There we go. We're just gonna go here now. Just keep doing the same thing what we're doing. And once you're just down to like 2 enemies, so just to Gar as well as Bo-Katan, just target Gar and hit auto basic and run the clock down. And that's basically it. So similar like the Tusken battle, auto basic for the last 10 minutes or so. Once you have this sequence lined up, I don't know, 3 minutes to go, decided okay, enough is enough, let's take down Gar. Hopefully I got enough stacks of momentum. I'm just like, you know what, let's just keep running the clock more down, because who knows how many stacks I've got without a feed tracker, right? But eventually we just got it down to 20 seconds. Nylos, boom, get your snacks. And this defeated Bo, and as well this would complete now momentum for you. So either Boba, full Tusken team, or a Tusken, There are ways to do it. Obviously, alternative options are you can use any of the Galactic Legends that are tank, like Luke, Ahsoka, or Leia. I'm going here with the Luke combo because I do like Luke's mass stun in there just to slow down the enemy. And again, we'll be going here with modless Luke Skywalker, Luke Skywalker for the maximum effect. So similar like we did. Here we put tank tech over on Luke. Now he gets a taunt, and then he does his AoE, gets death marked, and now they have to keep hitting him. And also you have to be careful a little bit with AoEs in this one as well, because these guys do pack a punch, but I don't know. I was able to hang in there for a while, but you'll see. There you go. They're doing good number on Luke. That's why I did bring in there a little bit Thrawn just for the fracture, so we can fracture somebody, slow them down, and I'm just gonna go ahead, hit full auto. They're stunned, fractured, so we can actually get our things going. So after the going maul, I targeted Django, got him down as well. Remember, he can ignore taunts, and yeah, I'll just Boba go to town with his AoEs at this point. So he stacks more momentum. There we go, just full auto at this point. Luckily, because of counterattacks, they're constantly healing up, so you know, hopefully shouldn't be too difficult for you to get momentum this way if you can't get it with Tuskens. And then I decided to go after Garsax next, still full auto at this point. There we go, and then I decided, you know what, we're just down to Sabine and just down to Bo. Let's just hit auto basic and you know, run the clock down as much as we can. There we go, we're about 10 minutes in, so very similar like the other battles, but I think this one, because of all those AoEs in the beginning, you know, you don't need to run the clock all the way down, but I guess it's anyone's guess. Sabine was a little bit annoying me there with her AoEs and stuff. I'm like, I don't think we can kill at this point Bo with auto basic, so we don't need to. Let's just go ahead, again, hit full auto, get Sabine down. You got so much stack of clan loyalty, because also for this stack of clan loyalty they gain extra protection. So Bo is very I guess durable. Drop the fracture on her and now just hit auto basic and run her down. Obviously fracture there a little bit stopped her from counter attacking, so not the best I guess for stalling, but luckily at this point, what, halfway through, a little bit more than halfway through I guess, the clock, we're able to as well get the momentum feat done. There you go, guys. It's a Galactic challenge, but it almost felt like Conquest today, right? Cheesing a little bit the death mark and everything. Hopefully this video was useful and helpful, just showing you multiple ways how to approach the momentum feed. Hopefully you've got something to get it done. Let me know in comments below, but until then, have fun, enjoy life, and may the RNG be with you, my friends.